Okay, today we are going to learn how to make your own fire logs at home using recycled paper and just a paper shredder and a little bit of extra effort. Um, for starters, since you're shredding a lot of paper, you really want to remove the little teeny tiny bin that goes under a paper shredder and put a big one underneath it. And most of them have a sensor that tells it when the lid is up, and it goes against all safety standards, but you need to tape that push button into place so that it's always on when you put paper in. Alright, so everybody knows how to put paper through a paper shredder, so I will pause it through that. One last thing I did want to mention, to get paper that needs to be recycled, hit up any school, library, government center that shreds. You might be able to get it already shredded, or there are some of those mobile shredding companies that visit government centers that might allow you to take their shreds and do something with them so that they know that they don't go to a landfill or possibly have crooks put them back together. So I got some old dot matrix paper from our local school, and it's wider because it has these strips on the sides, but if I tuck them in, I can get usually a few pages that will auto feed before it plugs up. So here we go. Setting. Now what you want to do is have one bucket that you have, 5-gallon bucket, or even larger if you've got one, that has holes drilled in on the sides and on the bottom for drainage, like a giant colander, and another 5-gallon bucket that does not have holes in it. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the one that has the holes in it inside the one that does not. You're going to put your paper in now. You're going to fill it right up. You're going to add water. You're going to pack it down, refill it up. Fill that baby with as much of those paper shreds as you can. You can use any paper that's absorbent. So, like your old phone books. Who uses a phone book anymore? And they keep sending them to you every year. You get catalogs, as long as it's not, "Hi, Allie, you want to be the star?" As long as it's not like wax coated and it will absorb water and become part of the mix, you can use it. Keep your paper shredder in your kitchen when your junk mail comes in. Shred it right away. Paper sacks from the grocery store, shred them right away. And I'm going to pause this since I don't have a tripod or anything, and I'm going to start the process of filling the bucket. Now I'm adding these paper shreds to the bucket. It's a pretty messy job, so you really want to do it contained like right in the bathtub, or if it's in the summer when you're doing it, which is ideal, would be outside using the garden hose. But you just take your mix of paper from your bags and stuff them in your bucket. You want to pack it down pretty good, so you stuff that bucket. Once you add water, you're going to be able to stuff the bucket by, half time again. So, now see, as you start adding water, it starts compacting down. I like to use a shower head and get it from the top. Now that was mounded up over full, and as it started getting wet, it's compacting down. So at this point, I'm going to get the bag and I'm going to fill her up again. Okay, believe it or not, what I have here is what's left in the mix from a completely full, was it 20-gallon tall kitchen garbage bag size bag, and it was stuffed full. I mean, the cat has been sleeping in the bag, compacting it down as well. And what we're left is a mash of less than half of a 5-gallon bucket. Now you want to mix it up in that water, let it absorb as much as the water, that it can. And you want to mix it, you want, kind of close to like a slurry. I've heard of some people taking it and putting it in the kitchen blender. And I've done that, and it didn't create a better log, it was just a lot more work. Because a kitchen blender just doesn't, this kind of material just kind of plugged it up. So I had to add a lot more water than I really wanted to have to strain out. So, just mix it until everything absorbs, and, give it an extra 15 minutes, because different kind of papers absorb at a different rate. So you really want it good and saturated, mixed up, broke up with your hands. You can also save your dryer lint and add your dryer lint to the mix, because that burns really good. I've heard of people using toilet paper rolls, stuffing them full of dryer lint as fire starters. So save everything in your house that is possibly burnable if you have a wood stove or you like summer bonfire pits. All right, I'm going to keep mixing this, and I'll check back in when I do a switcheroo. So at this point, my mix is well mixed. It's all broken up, so I can bring in my third bucket. Again, does not have any holes. So you've got 2 buckets with no holes, 1 bucket with holes in it. And what you're going to do, and this is going to be difficult to do with the film running, because I don't have a second person to hold the camera, but you're going to take, it's a 5-gallon bucket is the perfect size for a milk crate. And everybody's got at least one milk crate laying around. Over top of your third 5-gallon bucket. It's perfect size. Now you're going to take your slurry mix and you're going to set it on top of that milk crate. The water is going to drip down into that other bucket, so that mix is not going down your drain. Now again, I'm using the old bathtub because, well, you wet paper, when it dries, that's what they do paper mache with. It will clog the drain. So you want as little of that going down any drain that you actually use all the time. You don't want it going down there. So that's what this situation here is for. So I'm going to try to hold the camera and lift the bucket. Get it over there. Okay. See, it's doing its job. It's draining into the other bucket. Now, you do have this bucket that has water in it. You can pick that up, put it inside this bucket, and use it as a pusher. It's a natural weight to put on top. Like so. And now it's draining faster. And as it goes, I can apply pressure or add more water to this bucket. And it will push on the mix of paper and force the water down into the drainage bucket. So I'm going to keep doing that. Now, you want to get squeezed out as much as you can. And it's basically like mixing bread dough. Push as much out as you can, because it'll dry out faster. When it gets to, like, I guess, soggy pizza dough consistency, then it's about ready to pull out and mold. Now for that, you're going to want a large piece of cardboard, and you'll flip it out on it and shape it however you want it, to the size of what your wood stove is, or your fire pit. I currently have on the drying rack more like fire starter size, because mornings, you damper your wood stove down at night, and by morning you just got coals. If you put in great big logs, they might not catch. So if you put something really flammable in, if you've got coals, you don't start with paper again, not to catch a big log on fire. So you need something like kindling. And I make them larger than kindling size, but they burn. They catch fire very fast. And they still burn for a while. So, all right, I'm going to pause you again, and I will show you how to mold this up. Okay, here, hi Titty, I have a larger piece of cardboard, my bucket of pulp, and I'm just going to fastly flick it, turn it upside down on it, and it'll come out in a clump. Then I will mold it to the size I want. You can do sticks, you can do a great big log. In this case, I'm going to do a larger log, I think, because I have a few little ones that are already on the drying rack. So I'm going to do a larger one, and I'll take a couple of snapshots in each stage. All right, kitty, move. Alrighty, so this one I made fairly large. My wood stove holds a 24-inch log, which your standard in a cord when you buy it is usually 16 inches up to 20. I got an extra big, so I've got 24 inches at the bottom and probably 16 inches at the top. So I made this one fairly large to be more like a log that is split in half. And you just knead it into a shape. I took mine and I flipped it again over on its side and compacted and squished it some more, squeezing some more of the water out. I think what I'll do is I'll go grab some newspaper, and I'm going to roll it back in that again. Maybe wrap it up tight into it so it doesn't flake off or break apart as it dries. Then I'm going to place it in the wood stove room to dry out for, my smaller ones were a week and a half, so one this size would probably be a good 2 weeks before it's dry to the middle. Now here I have my starter brick next to the one that I just molded as an actual fire log. I haven't mastered the art of wrapping it in the newspaper yet, but it's just a matter of laying it out, tucking in the ends, like a burrito, and wrapping, and keep a little pressure on it as you roll it over and over. keep it compact. Now you'll pick it up and you will take it to a place to dry and cure. And don't disturb it for the next couple of weeks, and you'll be able to use it. Now, like I said, the smaller one is already done. It is, compact. It's about the size of the fire bricks that you buy on a pallet, which is, pretty much made the same way. They grind cardboard and paper and compact it, and it's the same thing with your pellet stoves. They do the same thing. Make a dust, wet it down. They have a mold that puts it into little pellets for your gravity feeder on your pellet stove. I would imagine, I don't have a pellet stove, but I would imagine if you took this slurry and mixed it into little pellets and put it in the hopper, it would probably work the same way. It would just be a lot more time consuming because you'd be making a whole bunch of little pellets. So, as we have here, and what's good about this is it's lightweight. There's a lot of moms out there that stay at home, take care of their kids, and the kids go to school. Well, granted, there's housework and dinner to be cooked and all that, laundry and stuff, but from start to finish, this log took 30 minutes. Who doesn't have 30 minutes in a day? And it doesn't have to be done all at once. I mean, as you saw, I had to keep stopping the camera. I could have put a load of laundry in the washing machine. It can be done on commercials if you're a soap opera watcher. It really doesn't take any effort for, the most part. I mean, it's harder to make a homemade pizza than it is a homemade fire log. And I have 2 jobs and a farm to run, and I'm still managing just at a putter to put out about 4 to 6 logs a day. You multiply that out, who knows? Maybe next year, if I get a bigger production thing going up this summer, I might not have to buy wood at all. I don't know if you can see this because it's dark in here, but you want to set up a drying rack of sorts. I have mine set up because I have this extra shelf, and I put multiple layers of cardboard between each log, and I can stack them. And the kindling ones on this particular tiny shelf, I can put 2 on each one, and then do another row on that of 2, and get more. I'm in my laundry room. My wood stove is outside. It's not one of those fancy wood furnaces. It's just an old-fashioned wood stove that is piped in to the side of the house, and there's a vent. So this particular room is the warmest room, and it is blowing directly across where my drying rack is. It's not absolutely necessary this way, but if you put it in a moister place, you might get some mold or something like that you don't want. So you really want a nice warm dry place for them to cure, and some place where you don't have to move them out of your way, because they do stay in their shape best if you don't touch them once you put them up to dry. Alright, so that is how to make your own fire logs out of recycled paper. Thank you, and until next time, bye-bye.